But the last time I got my mom, I'm getting her out of the house. We fell off the path into the bathroom or whatever. I didn't know where we were at really, and I'm in there. I'm confused, and I open my eyes, and it was the ugliest, scariest thing I've ever seen. And smoke was as deep and as bright. You can't see nothing, but you can see the smoke. And I said, not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I was gonna make it because I'm gonna get out the window, but my mama ain't gonna make it. I don't know how I would have ever left her. So, but took a step, and I'm back on the right path.
Am I gonna go?
Did you ever see like the actual Yakuza, like these tatted up Japanese guys? They were around? Did you ever have any interactions with them? Did you ever fear for your safety because you're dealing with the organized crime element?
One time, but it was.
Could you talk about that?
In a pro wrestling gig.
Could you talk about that?
Yeah, I will, but
okay.
So yeah, you slide that bitch. Yeah. What's next, Saki Kabara? But yeah, take that. Yeah, spread it out, and somebody's got to come through with too much, and most of the time you get through, and if you don't get through, you just got to claim it all of a sudden. So there ain't really no crime.
Oh, okay.
It ain't a crime.
Yeah.
Take it and write it.
Yeah.
So
I was just curious because nowadays.
my dad 10. My dad's always in my corner. Give him 10. Whoever else, Wes Sims 10. Whoever I had over there.
What was that when you won the Grand Prix? What was the after party like?
It's very quick. Honestly, they throw in. They have a beautiful little setup. This and that. They come in. It lasts about 45 minutes, and it's over. It's nice, but it's over. Then you have your own party.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
saying.
what'd you guys do when you went out? Could you describe a night with you and the boys out in Japan? Like, how awesome was it? Like, people don't know.
Yeah, I like the beer, man. I like the way it made me feel. We all like to drink, and it takes away the fear and this and that. But we didn't get ambushed when we went to bars. I mean, everybody's looking for their own thing to do.
Right.
Them poor Marine guys over there, and we got warned. Careful what you're kissing, Coleman. Could be a dude. And then poor Marine guys, we'd be seeing them up there kissing because you see the same dudes in there same time, and thank God we were warned.
Were the women all over? The women were all over you guys at Brock's?
No. At the Pride show, it just wasn't, wasn't that many women, really.
Really?
No.
I figured when you guys went out.
When you go to not Japanese one. When you go to Roppongi, the streets of Roppongi, that's the party town. When you go there, well, not many. It's foreigners. The bars are packed with tourists and a lot of hookers.
Yeah,
hookers. I mean, so no, you had to work.
Yeah.
wasn't simplified.
All right.
Now Brazil, it's a different story.
Really?
Cost me my first loss. The whole country of Brazil, I blame it on.
Why is that?
Well, I got a rematch lined up with Marie Smith. I just beat Dan Severn. I won 3 of these things in a row. I kept my drinking in check. I got better and better. And UFC 11, nobody would fight me in the finals for good reason. Nobody could have beat me that night. And Severn, I about ripped his big old neck off. And then I realized I got 3 belts, and I'm going into bars now. And the girls ain't running up to me, but the dudes are. But all the girls see the dudes talking to me, and they start wondering, who is this guy? And it became much easier in America. And in Brazil, wow. You go into a bar in Brazil, there's 60 girls and 40 guys. In America, there's 50 guys and 5 girls.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You got to work hard. And so I took somebody over there to fight. I got 6 weeks to my Marie Smith fight. Yeah, I'll come over, be doing appearance, get paid, this and that. Never got treated like this around. And it was like, wow. but then stay for a week, come home. I got 5 weeks left, which is not much, but I'm pushing my limit. But it was Maurice. My head had never gotten this big in my life in any sports. I thought I was going to whoop him with ease, which I would. But a week turned into 2 weeks. Randall was with me. He was just a celebrity over there. They loved him, the Brazil did. And then 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I stayed there for 4 weeks. I didn't train one time. I went out every night, hit it hard. And I realized I only got a couple of weeks left. Or 2.5 weeks. And I'm like, I got to get home. I fly home. And I was lean because the booze leans you out, actually. You know, I was 235-ish. You know, I mean, I usually walked around 245. And then I flew right out to Arizona, Mark Kerr's debut in the UFC. And I went out there and I opened the door, or he opened the door, and my mouth just dropped. He was 255-pound Hercules, and I'm 235. And I was not happy. Everything's just settling, and you blew it, Coleman. Alcohol and women, you know, just it ruins a lot of good men. But so then I actually, me and Kerr, I started feeling I was eating so many protein shakes, and I took a couple extra shots of steroids at the time, and Kerr would hear me make a protein shake, and he'd come in and take his, this and that. He was a giant. He was too big. That was too big at the time. But so I actually gained about 10, 15 pounds before the Maurice Smith fight in the last 2 weeks, which was just actually, it was no respect. I was just trying to look big, but I knew it was going to affect my cardio even worse.
Right.
And then you saw it. Sure. I mean, oh man, the most humbling sports event of my life by far, maybe of anything in my life, because man, 3 minutes into it, I knocked him out with a headbutt. I woke him up with a second one. He told me that later, but I knew I was just destroying him for 3 minutes violently. Big John was so close to stopping it. It was vicious. I took a break at 3 minutes. I feel my hands tingling, seizing up already. I got 21 minutes to go. I agreed to the second overtime of the fight. As I'm walking in out the door, UFC came in. If there's no finish after the first 3-minute overtime, we're gonna have a second one. What are you talking about? I'll be back here in a couple minutes. And nobody stepped in, and my manager said, no, because that second 3 minutes that I agreed to, it was the most brutally torturous 3 minutes of my life. I don't even know how I was standing up, but my legs were throbbing, and he's kicking 50, 25 each leg. But my dad says I won that fight. You know what I mean? I said, what are you talking about, Dad? You know, he says, well, you so got, you know, he goes, that he should have tried to knock me out, but he was still afraid to close the distance, even though I could hardly bend over. You know what I mean? He wasn't going to let it get back to the ground, because I was still winning after 15, but I don't know how I didn't have a heart attack. I mean, honestly, no training, 15 minutes with Maurice Smith, and then 3-minute overtime, 3-minute overtime. Wow, my world is ruined. And I couldn't believe. I blame the whole country of Brazil.
I mean, people really don't understand grappling for a minute. You know, like just in a street fight.
Who don't understand it?
People that have never done it, but they're always talking crap. I mean,
What the hell?
No.
1 minute's a long time.
I know, and you're in there for 22, 23 minutes of that. You know,
I got my hands on my knees. You know, when he steps back, I'm like, you get close, I had to come back up, and he should have went for a violent KO. That fight's not even in the Hall of Fame. It was the biggest one. It was big for the sport, because now all of a sudden the whole world thought they figured out how to beat these big, strong wrestlers. Just weather the storm and tire them out. You can only tire out a drunk wrestler. You know, you ain't going to tire out any of these guys. You know, that ain't the game plan. That ain't how it works, but wow. And then I immediately signed a rematch, and it took me 2 weeks just to get I was purple. I was blacker than Maurice Smith. My legs were black. I got pictures of it. It's sick. And Uriah Faber, remember him with
Oh yeah,
Jose
Aldo.
Aldo?
Yeah.
It was worse than his legs were, honestly. But 2 weeks later, go back in and have my first practice. You know, rolling around with Nick Nutter, a teammate of mine. He had never taken me down in 10 years. And we're going, I take him down about 10 times. I call it a day. And he talked me into one more, all right, and we're up against the wall, and I'm just chilling with my back up against the wall, being lazy because I had no fear of him scoring, even if he got my legs, but he dropped down and he pulled both legs off, and he drove his shoulder into my leg, and no problem, just go to the ground, but no, I got stuck up against the wall, and he blew my knee to pieces, man. And no rematch, ACL surgery. I come back 5 months later, way too soon. My leg was still skinny. They changed opponents 6 times. Started with Couture. Thank God he got hurt because he would have wrecked me then. He would have probably wrecked me. But then 6 other opponents. Every day they changed it. Yeah, okay, fine. But everybody was getting scared, thinking I'm coming back on a mission. And then they settled in with Pete Williams. And didn't have a good camp, man. Did not have a good camp. The leg wasn't ready. And I wasn't feeling good that night. Took him down. And I got a big problem with Big John in this one. I brought it up finally after 10 years. Well, he claims it's okay for Pete Williams to hold on to the cage. I pulled a double leg out. He hold on to the cage for like 15, 20 seconds, And John claims it was legal for him to avoid getting taken down using the cage. But when I had Pete Williams up against the cage, I just grabbed the cage for like a second. Let go of the cage. Let go of the cage or I'm taking a point. I'm like, what? They're just blatantly me here, but so the first takedown was really hard. Holding the cage, get him down. I'm on top of him. It's the first fight without the headbutts. My first fight without him. And all of a sudden, he can lock up my arms without fear. The headbutt's right there. You got to let go. And I got to work my arms out. And I didn't feel good. I finally get that arm out and my body I felt like a sissy this night. But I beat him for 15 minutes. And then, something was wrong. I didn't have a good camp, but I shouldn't have been this tired. I don't know what it was, my thyroid or whatever, but I'm face first in the cage after 15 minutes. And they got a young kid over there with tons of energy, Shamrock and Lions. Then look at him, Pete. And turn around, overtime. I didn't even take one step. I just stood right there. Pete came running over, and he ain't lighting me up or nothing, but it's on. And then he threw a knee, and I did the old shake my head like it didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. It wasn't much on it. And then I thought he was kicking me in the leg, and I went down and grabbed that leg kick violently. Don't remember it. Let's put it that way. So it was over an hour later, back in the locker room. I'm talking to my dad for an hour, and finally my brain jiggled back in the spot or whatever. Why'd Big John stop that fight? I said, after talking to him for an hour. I said, Dad, why'd he stop that? I was fine. My dad's like, what are you talking about? You got knocked out. What are you talking about? I said, was it bad? He goes, so I had a thyroid issue. So after that fight, I literally was sitting on my back porch for like a month, just sitting there, like just saying, man, it's true. You just get old overnight. I thought I got 32 years old, and I'm like, God damn, I'm old. And then, I got my thyroid working. It was new life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had trained for Pedro Hizzo, and by this time my mind was pretty shaken, but I had a good camp, and I beat him. Don't think I beat him. I beat that guy. He hardly even touched me. They wanted me out of there, man.
Right.
He got the decision and opened the doors for Pride.
Which was a great thing for you.
You were one of only 2 people to win the world championship in both the Pride and the UFC.
Anderson? No.
No, I don't know who the other guy was. I know
you're Noguera.
There's no girl.
Big Nog.
But with that being said, they say that in your era in Pride, that's where all the best fighters were of all time, and the rules there were different because you could punt, soccer kick on the ground, head stomp. It was tougher over there.
Different sport.
Yeah,
The rules completely changed how the game's played.
100%.
I liked it. What's better? Well, I like no rules. That's where I'm at my best. I mean, and limited, so it changes your defense, changes everything. I mean, it is one favorite. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say in both organizations, the UFC and Pride, when you in your prime, who was the toughest guy that you faced and why?
Well, Fedor.
Yeah.
Fedor is just so well rounded, and his punches were so fast, and they came from so many different angles, not normal angles, and a lot of steam on him. He punches hard, and I didn't have no chance. Like I said, I didn't think I had time to get good at stand-up. I could have got good 2 years straight. I would have been a knockout. I would have been Dan Henderson, only worse.
Yeah.
But I just never put in the time to give me the confidence to stand there. Now, in practice, I had confidence because there ain't nothing on the line. Wham, boom. Poor Wes. Poor Nutter.
How was that? And I gotta touch it real quick. Everyone talks about Hammer House, right?
Ankle was good.
Were those training practices just nuts, or were they controlled?
Yeah, but we were never in. All of us were never in the room at the same time. That would have been crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Because we all had struggles outside. So when you didn't have a fight lined up, it's hard to get you to practice. You know what I mean? So me, Randall, and Nutter, Hinkle, Brony, we were never in the same room at the same time. So if you get one or two of them in there, it's a good practice. You know what I mean? It's a good goal. But yeah, just hard, man. Intense. But a lot of wrestling, MMA wrestling, because when we did spar, it was dangerous.
I could imagine.
For the other person.
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid in the rec room at all, man. I wasn't afraid.
Now, is it also true that
I didn't get hit much. So as far as getting hit, most people get hit the most in practice.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't get hit that much in practice.
Now, was it true that when you walked in the room, that gym became Hammer House?
Yeah.
Right?
Where's Hammer House? Where's Hammer House? It's wherever I'm at. It's it.
It's awesome.
It's it. We travel. Yeah. No, I wanted to open the gym, but just that's what happened, man. I win the title and I start Hammer House. It's easier to become a champion and stay a champion because you got so much on your plate once you become the champion, and you forget about what matters the most. So I'm training all these guys, managing them, and hey, there's a handful, man. Randall was crazy, bro. Yeah, I did, and all of them good times, but I you only win if you pay the price, and I never paid the price after, I did a couple times after the Grand Prix. I put it together for Shogun late in my career. They gave me 90 days, and that's it. And I win one, I'd train for the next one, or lose one, have to win, train, lose, train. That's kind of what it was. You know what I mean?
Right.
How do you think nowadays the sport is different from when you were competing? Like good and bad.
Just so many more athletes who have coaches now. I was the coach, man. There were no coaches. I wouldn't have went to them anyways. You know what I mean? But there wasn't, teams, this and that. I was the coach.
Right.
Took pride in I think I'm one of the best coaches in the business. As a wrestling coach, I create champions. And MMA, I coached Hall of Famer there, Randall. Give him a lot of credit, but Wes Sims, to make it to the UFC, being a 6'9" basketball player, skill only, Hinkle made it to the UFC. Nutter would have made it to the UFC. So there's only 6 or 7 of us, but we all made it to the prime time.
Yeah. And I think that pushes you through life in general, just having that tough mindset, being a wrestler, you can get through everything. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I just heard it, and no, man, I struggled with life.
I think we all do, but then you were able to
And
push through it now. So where you're at
what was
now.
I afraid of? Everything. I don't even know what I was afraid of. I was very shy. Couldn't look nobody in the eye. Fear. That's why I drank. Took our fear away. Life is easy when you drink because you have no fear. But then the next day comes, you got to do it again. And it became, I walked away from the sport. I was lost. What am I going to do? I'm only 44. I was young, hip. Doctor told me I had to get it replaced. I listened to him. I wished I wanted to because it didn't need to get replaced. But all that would have did is bought me a couple more years, a couple more paychecks. But he did it. He told me I needed to replace because he wanted me out of it. And when I, so got to replace, and about a year afterwards, BJ Penn calls me up and he wants me to coach on Tough. And I'm a year into my bender now, drinking, and I went out to Vegas. I got more sober time in Vegas than any other state in the world. I go to Vegas to get sober, and so I went out there, and it was 10 of the coolest weeks of my life. The Tough 19, me, BJ Penn, Jason Perillo, John Hackleman, bad coaching staff. BJ Penn goes up there we watch 16 fights. We go back to the club, and everybody, all these coaches are yelling at BJ, who to pick, I said, BJ, there's 6 wrestlers out there, 5 really good wrestlers. Just give me a couple of them, dude. Just give me, Frankie Edgar, BJ picked, some Russian, whatever. Frankie snatched up. He got them all. He got every one of them, and we went back to the locker room. I was disgusted. We were gonna get whooped. But for some reason, all the other coaches weren't happy with the picks either. You know what I mean? So we had a blast, but they whooped us. We didn't get nobody into the final, man.
All right.
But it was, I got sober for 10 weeks, and I started training again after the hip replacement. I was training with these guys with my bad. 5 months after surgery, I'm out there wrestling with these guys from Tough, and they said they turned Tough 19 into my comeback training camp. You know what I mean? So, but I went back after that. I went back to Columbus, and that's when so I'm stretching. I'm doing a real hard stretch. My legs were spread, showing some dude how to stretch. And when I came up, when my leg buckled in, and that hip popped right out. And the doctor told me, if you break protocol and it pops out, he said, you ain't going to be able to take it. You ain't going to like it. And he was right. I didn't even know what happened. My leg's just crooked. I figured it out. I'm like, oh my God, it's hanging out. And I sent it off to the very next night. It popped out again. My doctor said I was living in complete fear now. I wasn't breaking protocol. It was popping out any kind of movement. And I was a dying man. And my doctor just kept blaming it on me. Finally, oh, come on in. I'm going to check it out. And when he seen it on my face that something was really wrong, he said, all right, I'm going to go in and take a look at it. We'll put a bigger ball and socket in there. And I knew that wasn't the answer. That was not going to fix whatever's wrong. And sure enough, when he cut me open, he seen a septically infected leg. And it was bad. It ate a chunk of my away.
Right.
And that sent me spiraling down 10 years of no training, nothing. I just walked away from any kind of exercise at all and turned to the bottle, and it got worse progressively. I did have a daughter in between there, and a horrible relationship with the mama, and more and more drinking. I did raise my daughter, but then towards the end, when I finally left this woman, 3 years, I stayed in an extended stay hotel for over a year, and I cut everybody off. That's what you do as an alcoholic. You cut everybody out of your life because all you really care about is that booze that's in the fridge. And basically my little hotel room was about this big. And just imagine complete disgust, like thousands of beer cans just around. Never cleaned. I never took a shower at the end. Towards the end, it got so bad. I don't shave and shower, and nobody. Finally, I get a knock on the door. Even I told the look, I don't want no maids or nothing in here. Nobody, and finally there's a knock on the door. It was 6'9" Wes Sims. And I was getting bad. I just went on the bed, laid down, didn't even talk to him, was laid there. And he cleaned the whole room up, said about 15, 20 garbage bags full of cans. And then when he came back, I didn't even remember him being there. I didn't realize my room was clean. 10 a.m. I'm already drinking, already laying down, but I opened the door and I knew who it was. And he asked me if I'm trying to kill myself, and I said, well, absolutely not. I'm gonna get through this. I wasn't getting to see my daughter. And there's no excuses, but something had to push me to rock bottom. That's why this woman was put into my life. And when I couldn't see my daughter staying in the hotel, it got worse and worse. And thank God, Quest came. And thank God, I didn't let him take me to rehab. I refused because I was on Klonopin and booze, and those are the worst two. You can't go cold turkey on that, or you will die. I said, I'm not going to no, not today, not today. And then my addicted mind said, well, I'll go to the hospital, because I knew they were going to give me pain meds and wean me off. I wanted to get off the booze, but I knew I couldn't. And they would wean me off. The Klonopin, you can't get off that either after a week. I told Wes, I said, it's a fog for a year, let alone a week. I don't remember the week very much. And I said, take me to my mom or dad's house. Well, all right, but I got your room lined up. Not today, Wes. I'm not going today. Go to my parents, this and that. Fucking nasty looking dude. Disgusting. And but Wes is persistent, and he's the only guy that could have kept me. So I checked in, and I was right where I belonged. I knew immediately regular people with all kinds of addictions, and it's the best move I ever made.
Sober is cool, brother.
5, I stayed. I told him I'd give him 30 days. And you get in there. Why, you said you're gonna let me use my phone. What do you need your phone for? I got things to do. I'm busy. You ain't done shit for 3 years, Coleman. Nothing. What are you busy? You ain't busy. And about 30 days into it, I remember a girl coming up and saying, how you doing today, Coleman? I said, man, I'm doing good. Doing real good. Just wondering when it's going to go bad. And she looked at me and said, well, maybe it never will. Here it is. 3.5 years.
You should be proud of that, man.
Yeah.
You should be really proud of that, brother.
Proud. It ain't easy. Mm-hmm. You don't understand the disease. If you don't have it, they don't understand. They just don't get it.
Matt Brown was talking about that yesterday. Some people have the disease. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where
it's real. It's a disease.
Yeah, it's in you. You know what I mean? It's something that
the booze and the drugs, they're not the problem. The problem is your mind. The booze and the drug are the solution to your problems. And in rehab, 5 months I ended up staying. And I listened, I paid attention, and now I help people, a lot of people. And I know I'm proud that I feel like I'm a therapist now, and I know what I'm talking about. And it feels good to know, because in school I never not one day in my life did I ever sit there and listen to that teacher trying to learn. It just wasn't, that meant nothing to me. I already knew what my plan was at a very young age. And, but I sat there and listened and learned. And it's all about, God has to take away the obsession to drink, and you got to surrender. I did. And I'm very close to God today. Everything goes to him. But 5 months, and when they set me out, when Matt Brown he said, so why don't you come help me with this camp? I moved into his basement. And when you get out, you're scared. Because in rehab, you can't go get it. Now, I see it everywhere. But it's a fight. I'm winning. I'm going to win.
Oh yeah, brother.
That's going to help people. I got a lot of people following me. I don't want to let them down. Because I know the disease. If I fail, many people grab the bar. I don't want that to happen.
Absolutely.
Well, it's just another championship you're winning.
The hardest fight by far of my life. Not even close. And I'm emotional, but I'm emotional happy because I found peace. I never had any peace in my life. And now I fear nothing. And I'm not shy. And I can look people in the eye. And I don't have to lie. So life is good.
And you're touching so many people, brother.
Cool.
Yeah, damn right.
You'd be amazed. I can't believe how cool it is. And now I can go sit at B-dubs and sit at the bar. You're not supposed to, the therapists say, but I got to see the TVs. And I just look down and everybody that's at that bar, I'd say almost 80, 90% of them have the disease in there. And none of them are willing to. You got to commit. I'm glad I did.
A lot of people are, man. And I think, I saw something that when you were selling some of your trophies or something, it kind of broke my heart. I was like, I'd seen things about,
Sold everything.
and then I knew through like hearing stuff that, Coleman was going through stuff.
I sold the belts.
And I saw it and I was like, man, like he must be going through something, man.
It's just,
but
they don't matter.
No, I'm saying you're coming out of it, which is great.
The replicas are nicer than the fucking real thing. So I'm okay, man. You know what I mean? Because don't get me wrong, it crushed me. But who cares, really?
No, yeah.
I don't care. Material things, they help. But they can hurt, too. No.
You're etched in history. Your wins are etched in history.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere, brother.
The first ever. The first ever UFC heavyweight champion. You don't need a trophy for that. You know what I mean? You're etched in history.
Right place, right time. And when that fight with Severn happened, it was in New York, and you could feel things falling apart. And I knew how big this fight, it has to take place. It has to take place. I need to be the first. And flew to Alabama in the middle of the night, fought there. I don't care if it's just me and Severn. That would have meant the world to me. Had a couple 5,000, 3,000 fans there. I knew I did something special. But then it triggered me. I stayed sober for about a good 7, 8 months during my first run. And then it set me right to the bottom. Disease.
Speaking of what you're speaking on right now, I think it's important you're bringing this up because a lot of people battle addiction, but
millions, brother. People have no. I'm not ashamed because millions are alcoholics. Only 5% of people that check into rehab, only 5% of them people succeed. It's very much 4% really. They give you a little, and I made quite an impact on the people because I stay in touch with them people still. We got more than 5%. I'm staying on Facebook. I follow them. It's
let me ask,
fun watching them struggle.
I'm curious your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on like McGregor and Jon Jones as far as, do you feel like they have some drinking issues or drug issues? Like, what are your thoughts on it? I'm just curious.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
both
You could see it.
they're both addicts. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And in denial. Don't want help. One of the two. I knew I was when Wes came in there, I wasn't in denial. I just was not ready to stop. I knew I was going to stop someday, but most people are in denial. They don't. Maybe McGregor and Jon Jones are in denial, but no, I watched them struggle, and I'm good friends with Jon Jones. I'm proud of him. I respect him, and I'm pulling for him to stay sober. Yeah, he is. We talk about sobriety, so yeah, he knows he's an alcoholic. McGregor, man.
What do you guys say about that?
Well, just it's too much to put on a man's plate. He can't handle it. As far as now, he can't handle it. He don't have to fight ever again, but I know he wants that for his happiness. But he gonna have a hard time quitting. Everybody does, but gonna be almost impossible for him. Cause will he be willing to surrender, check into rehab? It's quite the commitment. And when you're worth $1 billion,
Right.
no, so yeah, it didn't ruin him, but it destroyed his career.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, now what comes out of his mouth anymore is brilliant still, but it carries no weight, and he can still knock some people out, but his wrestling is not very good. He knows how to wrestle, but he's just not good at it. He ain't very good wrestler. He knows wrestling, but he ain't gonna beat top. Chad Mendez, if they would have gave him an ample camp,
Oh yeah,
he
dude.
smashes him.
Mm-hmm.
That was the biggest break for McGregor ever, right there. He got by that, and I'm sure. Who knows? I heard Mendez only had a couple.
He did. Yeah, it was last minute.
And then
So what we're saying is, so McGregor needs to call you, brother, and get him back in the camp, man.
No, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
He's gotta
Clean up. Yeah. No, I understand that.
He gotta be willing. But I do stay in touch with a lot of my buddies that are fighters and stuff. We work together.
Yeah.
And it's mental health. I'm not afraid I'm not afraid to admit, because I know you two struggle, I would guess, some days, right?
Yeah.
It's everything. Everyone
yeah.
does.
Life is
Ups and downs.
and I was such a negative person, random, and hated my negativity. And now I didn't understand it until now. Yeah, it'll kill your mind.
Absolutely.
And everything begins with a thought. And you can take it south real quick. But I have so many skills and weapons when it goes south. Just port together. Life is good.
Hell yeah.
Blessed, I'm happy, I'm at peace. But Instagram, I'm not fake. I am having the best days of my life and this and that, but don't think that I don't struggle as well. Because I'm not afraid, because I think everybody does.
100%.
Real bad.
100%. Without a doubt.
But yes, slap it out. Tell yourself how blessed you are. Be grateful. Grateful is the best word in gratitude. Grateful. I got everything I need.
Hammer House.
And my kids are my life. 3 daughters. Mom and dad still around. I love to eat good food. I fast every day. I exercise hard. I've done some 19-hour days. Everybody's like, well, what the fuck? And not high intensity stuff. I start at 5 a.m. and once I start moving, I rotate yoga in there, walking 10, 15 miles a day, advanced walking, shadow boxing. I still plan I'm going to compete in something. I don't know what. I wasn't going to do the celebrity boxing. That was the real thing. But everybody keeps saying, doing these 19-hour days, 12-hour days. I'm sore from head to toe right now as we're talking. I have to be. I have to stay busy to stay sober. I got to stay busy. And I'm addicted to exercise, and I'm addicted to the soreness. And I live for a lot of things, but I can't wait till about 7 o'clock tonight because I have to be starving when I eat. And it's just these little things in life. You know, it's just moments now that you got to be grateful for. And you guys taking me out to eat after this?
Let's go, brother. Where you want to
Hey,
go?
I gotta wait till 7.
Exactly, I know.
I just wait as long as I can till I can't take it anymore. Then I go to B-Dubs a lot because they cook in tallow oil. The oils out there, it's the worst thing out there killing these Americans, mate. They're just killing you. It's the worst thing for you, you know. But B-Dubs cooks in tallow oil. I'm all about the carnivore diet. Liver King he's been so good to me, and I like the guy. He lied about taking steroids. He confessed it. He's been good to me. My fans don't like that. I'm good friends with him. We got big things coming up, me and Liver King. I'm going to be the head of his barbarian organization. I mean, I'm so busy. I don't know. I'm doing commentating for putt-putt golf, slap fighting, car jitsu. All these sports are taking off. My buddy JT Tilley, he invented and created these sports. He brought me in. He creates material now, and millions and millions of views. And I'm just stuck at playing the commentator role, but I couldn't do commentating for the UFC. I would get critiqued so bad and be booted off there so fast. But it's not your normal comment. We make everything fun, and
And it seems like you're having fun with it too, you know?
well, yeah, I like getting paid too.
Yeah,
I like to travel, and everything's good. And then flew to Colombia recently. Got my first dose of stem cell about a month and a half ago. Takes time to kick in. I feel great. I haven't felt this good. I've been in pain for a year and a straight year. 6 surgeries, 6 hip replacements, not minor. I had a hernia surgery. That was awesome getting that fixed. But it's still super sore. It's super weak, but I just keep grinding. And right now, it got, surgery, and I'm climb. Never complained at all. I just loved it. The challenge. The worse the pain, the more the suffering, the bigger the reward. But then all of a sudden, I'm getting into the open, and boom, my leg was swelled up. It's infected. It's infected again. My fault. Maybe a little bit. The first one had an open wound. After the first surgery, my wound was leaking bad, and I'll be honest with you. I walked out of the hospital after the surgery, and I didn't stop. And I was on that pain medicine from the hospital. It makes me Superman, and yeah, I literally didn't sleep 48 hours, and not only didn't I sleep, I was low maintenance exercise, but probably not the smartest, but I'm not gonna let my atrophy up. I'm not gonna do that, and I haven't done it. I haven't missed in a year and a half, and it's pretty damn strong. But I couldn't piss. I got out the first surgery. I couldn't pee. Doing that, my legs swelled way up. And it was brutal. I'm going to the bathroom every 30 minutes for 30 days, and not much is coming out. It's brutally challenging. I have to get into a pose, flex every muscle in my body, hold my hernia in. It's just like, it's a workout. 3-minute workout every 30 minutes, no sleep, nothing. And so finally, it just went away, thank God. And then my 5th surgery, it happened again. And for 2 weeks, I remember it took me right back to, it's the hardest month of my life, man, brutally, physically and mentally. I should have been in the hospital, but I was in my house on my own with my dog Hammer and sleeping, so it got infected.
Right.
Did I cause it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I wasn't as sanitary as I probably could have been, but it could have been already in there anyways. You never really know. But then it happened again on the 5th surgery. I couldn't pee. And my daughters just noticed. You don't care about anything. You can't pee. You know how good it feels to pee until it's taken away from you. And then about 3 weeks of me turned back into that guy from the first surgery. And I went back to the hospital. I didn't want that damn catheter.
Right.
I didn't want that, but I don't know why I waited 3 weeks. It was, the catheter sucked, but it didn't suck nearly as bad as not being able to urinate.
I can imagine.
Proper pronunciation.
You had mentioned in there you'd like to get into celebrity boxing possibly in the future. I want to just bring this up because we had talked about this before we got on camera.
Who knows now? That's what I was telling people I'm training for, and I was going to do it. They had Montel Griffin, and 1 minute rounds, 3 1-minute rounds. No, I'm not going to box this. It's going to be dirty boxing. I'm going to be shoving him into the ropes, dirty boxing. I'm not going to stand there. He's fast as lightning, but he's old too. I wasn't worried about that. I mean, a little bit worried, of course, but no, I wasn't too worried about it. But at the same time, that's what I said. People just, what are you doing all this training for? Celebrity boxing, No, I'm something big's coming up in my life. I don't know what. Something big. And we all found out what. My mom and dad's house burned down. And if I hadn't been training like an animal, well, first of all, if I would have been, my drunken days, I would have never woke up. We all would have just died from the smoke, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I got sober, the training I did was the only way I made it in and out of that house 4 times. And I don't know, I don't know how, because it was bad smoke, and somehow I just stayed on my feet, and it was, the Lord guided me, and it was the highest of highs I've ever had, but at the same time the lowest of lows, and not getting my dog out of there was devastating. But the last time I got my mom, I'm getting her out of the house. We fell off the path into the bathroom or whatever. I didn't know where we were at really, and I'm in there. I'm confused, and I open my eyes, and it was the ugliest, scariest thing I've ever seen. And smoke was as deep and well, you can't see nothing, but you can see the smoke. And I said, not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it. I was gonna make it, because I'm gonna get out the window, but my mama ain't gonna make it. I don't know how I would have ever left her. So, but took a step, and I'm back on the right path. I got her. It was God guiding me. I got her out, went back in for the dog, and it was, I shouldn't have been in there, but I got down on the floor, and it wasn't so smoky down there. I gave myself a little false sense of a little bit of confidence, but then I leaned up, and I took in a big one, and that's it. I stood up, and I fell into the bed. I knew it was time. I got to get out, but you can't see, so I'm just, finally I got to the garage door. I see freedom. By this time, the whole house was on fire, but I see the garage. I knew I made it. Yeah.
I mean, for myself being a fireman, I can't imagine the smoke that you took, and it's amazing. And it's a testament from Wes Sims knocking on your door to getting in the rehab to changing your life around, getting healthy for that moment to save your parents, which is an amazing thing.
Just, to me, that was the only option. And thankfully, the right place at the right time, because I hadn't been home from my mom and dad's for months. Why did I go home that night? Everything. But, so when I figured out what was going on because it took me a good minute to figure out what was going on. When I woke up, it was black and hot, and I was in a nightmare, this and that. I didn't know it was fire. Didn't even know it was real hot. Walked out, seen a big cloud in the kitchen. I didn't recognize it as smoke. I thought it was the cloud, and the devil was in my house. That's why I grabbed this doorknob, because I wanted to have an escape route, whoever was in there to get me. That's how I was thinking. And I grabbed the doorknob, and it just burnt the hell out of my hand. There was no flames or nothing, so I grabbed it, and then I realized, oh. Then I heard fall from up above, and then it clicked in. The whole house is on fire inside. It just hasn't exposed itself yet. I ran back to my mom and dad's room. Mom, Dad, I yelled it 5 times. Mom, Dad, and they don't move, nothing. And I'm thinking they're dead. I'm thinking they're already dead from whatever smoke inhalation. But my mom didn't answer because she thought I was doing one of my crazy 4 a.m. Instagram videos. She thought I was doing a bitch. And finally, she said, "What?" I couldn't believe it. Let's go. We gotta hurry. They come around. I grab my dad. He's got my mom. Walk them out. First round was not it was not great, but it was not horrible. But I get into the exit. I turn around. My mom was not with us. Oh, Dad, you had her on? And now it's bad. I go back and I see my mom standing in the bedroom down there in the hallway. Her light was on. The only light in the house was all the other, no lights, but her light, I could see her through the smoke in her underwear, just standing there. What are you doing? She's like, I can't breathe. She's got asthma real bad. Can't breathe. So I ran down and grabbed her, turned around, and now it's ugly. I got to get back down. That's why I fell into the bathroom. But got her out, and I just don't know. I mean, all him, because but if I wouldn't have been, I became obsessed with training. Literally 19, just every day, nonstop. Just every day was like became. But if I wouldn't have done it, I wouldn't. Maybe I get myself out. I wouldn't have got them all out for sure.
There's a lot of people that wouldn't even do half that. Trust me, brother. I know from being behind the scenes and stuff. So you should be. We said before, we should be proud of it. So
I'm a pyromaniac. As a kid, I loved fire. I burnt the garage down as a little 5-year-old kid, man. So I love fire, but boy, wow.
have a respect.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's so dear. I mean, I can't believe how scary it was. And then when I thought I was fine, when I got up the last time, I'm coughing real bad, but I'm like, yeah, I can't believe it. Mad about my dog. Here's my mom and dad. And I'm coughing hard, but I'm thinking I'm 100% fine. And I can't believe I didn't get scathed. But no, the fireman got there. I said, let's go. We got to get my dog. And of course, they wouldn't let me back in. I don't remember none of this. Blacked out at this point. But then they took me on the ambulance, got there, put me on the ambulance. And I was acting like I'm fine. They're like, well, we're life flight you to Toledo and we'll check it out. And when they got down in there, it was a disaster. They'd never seen so much black smoke on the lung. And they got some kind of machine that goes down in there, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, but they said they were able to blast off like 80% of that. And they took out a gallon of black gook, or whatever. And without that, well, I probably would have died. They would have eventually it closed up. Well, maybe not that. Without the tubes going down there,
It would have.
I would.
Yeah.
Eventually, I would have stopped breathing. It was getting worse and worse and worse, and then induced coma for a couple of days. And man, I remember, like the second day, I remember kind of waking up in this coma and hearing my kids. Yeah, my kids were there. Both my kids were there, and they're playing this music. "Fear is a Liar," it's a Christian song, my favorite song. But I remember it. I remember trying to hold back the tears because I didn't want my daughter to see me cry. And I remember feeling just one tear made out. And when I came to, they asked me if I remember talking to them at all. I said, yeah. And I said, they talked about fear's a lie. I said, yeah, I remember. They knew I wasn't lying when I said, yeah, one tear came. But, emotions I was overwhelmed. See my babies and my life. Then I found out that the story had traveled the world, and all my fans were praying. I thought I was gonna wake up. I got to deal with this with my mom and dad. And I found out the whole world's pulling for me. It's overwhelming. I'm grateful that the fans came to my help again. I'm grateful, but that's why I think I earned it, because if you ever met me, I don't, not on purpose, maybe when I was drunk by accident, but I never say no to a fan for a picture or whatever. And that just helped make everything so much easier. Like, there ain't gonna be no disappointment. I had all my collector stuff down in that basement. I live in a small apartment, and a lot of beautiful gone, and no insurance didn't cover it, you know what I mean? But I didn't let it bother me at all. I didn't let it bother me at all. So,
And you're here, brother, and we appreciate that. The name of this podcast is Money, Loyalty, Legacy, and we'd like to ask you right now, what would you like your legacy to be?
just say,
Stronger than life.
You're not gonna catch me quitting, ever. I'm just getting started. And I said that a bunch of times. I'm 44. I'll just get started. I'm getting better. I'm 44 telling you in my interviews, but nah, man, I'm just gonna keep moving forward, keep helping people, and enjoy life. Be happy. And it's all about finding peace. But that peace is there now, but it can easily go down. And it's just an everyday fight. But I'm gonna win.
Mark, I want to thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. You're the man, brother. Keep pushing. People are rooting for you on the internet all over the world. Honestly, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, brother. Really
Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Hammer House, baby.
All right, so let's cut to the chase. I made an ebook. It's got over 700 methods and strategies to build your YouTube channel, to get views. It actually works. I made this because over the 3 years prior to this podcast, I bought all the courses, spent thousands of hours watching all these YouTube videos, and none of them actually give you any information. This ebook has 700 plus secret strategies and methods that only top YouTube influencers use. I promise it works. Money back guarantee. Trust me, go buy it now. Half off.